When I met Elaine, it was one of those moments that felt cinematic. She was walking out of a bookstore, coffee in one hand, a thin fashion magazine tucked under her arm, and a soft autumn breeze lifting her hair just so. I remember thinking, this is it. This is what meeting your person looks like. We were married 3 years later. I thought we were building something real. We had our routines, our laughter, our late-night Netflix marathons, our silent car rides that weren't awkward but comforting. Elaine worked in marketing at a small design firm. I managed operations at a software company. Stable. Comfortable. She was always stylish, always put together. But a few months ago, something shifted. Not overnight, not in a way that screamed red flag. It was more like a slow pull of thread unraveling a sweater. Subtle at first, new clothes that didn't quite match her usual taste, books on personal style and empowerment, a sudden interest in weekend workshops that seemed to leave her more radiant each Sunday evening. "Style is self-respect," she said one evening over dinner, her eyes lighting up. "It's how you project who you are to the world." I didn't argue. If she found joy in it, who was I to question it? The workshop she signed up for was held every Saturday afternoon at this artsy loft downtown. Taught by a man named Tristan Cavanaugh. A name that sounds like it belongs to a cologne bottle. The first time I met Tristan was during an open house session Elaine dragged me to. He was everything I wasn't, polished, confident, with this relaxed arrogance wrapped in silk shirts and tailored pants. He greeted me with a firm handshake and a glance that didn't linger long. I was invisible in that room full of mirrors. "He's brilliant," Elaine said on the drive home. "Like, not just stylish, but insightful. He sees people." I nodded. "Sees them how?" She laughed like I was being silly. "Not in a creepy way. Just, he can tell you what your outfit says about you. And he's right." The weeks went on, and Tristan's name became a regular guest at our dinner table. His opinions, his ideas, his jokes, which Elaine would recount with a little too much enthusiasm. I wanted to believe it was just admiration, the kind a student has for a good teacher. But I'm not a fool. I've seen how these things start. I just didn't want to believe it was happening to me. The first real crack came when I found a second phone in her handbag. It was subtle, sleek, and hidden under her makeup pouch. My hand shook as I unlocked it. She used the same password as her main phone. The messages weren't explicit. Not all of them. But the tone, the late-night timestamps, the emojis, the unspoken undercurrents, they said enough. "Can't wait for our next lesson, winky face. Still thinking about yesterday. You are intoxicating." That word. Intoxicating. I closed the phone and sat on our bed in silence. The kind of silence where your heartbeat becomes deafening. I didn't confront her right away. I needed time to understand what I was feeling. Anger, yes. Betrayal, absolutely. But also shame. Like I had missed a signal. Like I had failed at something essential. The confrontation came 2 weeks later, when she told me she'd be staying late after the workshop for a styling project. I said nothing at first, just followed her car. I know how that sounds, but when you feel your reality slipping, you need confirmation. You need truth. She didn't go to the loft. She went to a boutique hotel on the west side. I didn't barge in. I didn't scream or call or text. I just watched. I saw her meet him at the entrance. I saw the kiss. Not a friendly one. Not professional. A kiss that rewrites entire love stories. I drove home on autopilot, the steering wheel slick under my palms. When she returned hours later, smelling of unfamiliar cologne and excuses, I asked one question. "How long?" She froze. "What? How long have you been seeing him?" She stammered. Tried to lie. Then saw the look in my eyes and stopped. "It started a few months ago. she whispered. I didn't mean for it to happen. That line. The classic. It just happened. I didn't yell. I just walked into the bedroom, packed a bag, and left. I drove for hours. Slept in the car. I needed space to think, to breathe, to understand why the woman I loved more than anything had sought validation in the arms of another man. Was it me? Had I become too predictable, too steady? Had our comfort turned into complacency? Or was it her, unable to appreciate the stability we had, chasing the spark instead of the flame? After I left that night, the silence between us became a third presence. I stayed with my brother for a week, telling him just enough to keep the questions at bay. I didn't want advice or sympathy. I just wanted stillness. A quiet place where my thoughts didn't echo with her voice. Elaine called, of course. At first, it was apologetic, soft, tear-streaked voicemails about how she'd made a mistake and how we could fix it. Then came the denial. It wasn't serious. I didn't love him. It was just something I needed to explore. Her messages read like a PR crisis statement, crafted, rehearsed, but hollow. I didn't reply. Instead, I went back to our house when I knew she'd be at work and started sorting through her life. Drawer by drawer, photo by photo. The little notes she used to leave in my lunchbox. The framed photo from our weekend in Asheville. The mug she bought me that said, "World's okayest husband." At the time, I'd laughed. Now, it felt like a cruel prediction. The more I reflected, the more I realized this wasn't about just Tristan. It was about a pattern, about someone who needed the spotlight more than the connection. About a woman who, somewhere along the line, began dressing up her insecurity in curated outfits and compliments from strangers. She wasn't trying to find herself. She was trying to escape herself. And I had been her mirror. Steady. Honest. Unflattering. The final conversation happened a few days after I filed the paperwork. She came by, makeup-free for the first time in what felt like years, in a hoodie and old jeans. She looked younger. Tired. Real. "I guess this is it then," she said softly, sitting on the edge of the couch like it might collapse beneath her. "I signed the papers," I replied, not out of coldness but clarity. "They'll be served next week." She nodded, then twisted her hands together the way she always did when she was nervous. "I never meant to hurt you." "You did," I said evenly. "Whether you meant to or not doesn't change the fact that you did." She looked down, ashamed. Maybe for the first time, truly ashamed. "I thought I needed more," she whispered. "I thought if someone like him saw something in me, it meant I was worth more. I didn't realize what I had was already enough." I wanted to tell her that I used to watch her sleep, memorizing the pattern of her breathing like it was a poem. That I once drove 3 hours to a bakery she mentioned in passing just to bring her her favorite raspberry tart. That I didn't just love her, I trusted her. And she shattered that trust with the same grace she used to button her blouse before leaving for her style lessons. But I didn't say any of that. Instead, I said, "I hope you find what you're looking for." "I really do," she cried then. Not the loud sobs of someone seeking sympathy. Just quiet tears, like she finally realized the gravity of her choices. After she left, I poured myself a drink and stepped out onto the porch. The sun was setting, painting the sky with colors I hadn't noticed in a long time. I breathed it in. People talk about closure like it's this grand revelation, but sometimes it's just a quiet acceptance. The kind that creeps in when the noise dies down and all that's left is truth. Elaine chose sparkle over substance. I was the steady rhythm, comfortable, maybe even boring, but I was real. And I've learned that being real, being loyal, isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to build a future on. Maybe next time, with someone who values that. And maybe, just maybe, with someone who sees me not as a background character, but as the main story.